A heavily drunken man is going ice fishing. He starts to drill a hole when a loud, booming voice says, "There is no fish down there." So he stops drilling and moves a little ways and starts to drill again. The same voice booms, "There is no fish down there." So he moves a little bit further and is about to drill again, but the voice immediately comes again, "There is no fish down there." The drunk looks around and says, "Who are you anyway? God?" "No, I'm the ice rink manager." Today I'm going to talk about fishing. The Old Man and the Sea is a novel written by the American author Ernest Hemingway in 1951 and published in 1952. Because of it, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1954. It is the story of a battle between an old, experienced fisherman and a large marlin. The fisherman has gone 84 days without catching a fish. Finally, he's able to catch a big fish, marlin, but sharks appear and have almost devoured the fish's entire body, so its skeleton is left. The fisherman ended up with the empty boat. The story is very similar to the story in the text today. Peter was a professional fisherman. He did his best. He spent all night to catch fish, but he ended up with an empty boat. He might have had bills to pay. He might have promised to buy toys for his children, but there was nothing. It was empty. To Peter, fishing was his professional job. It's not hobby. It is his professional job. It means he was an experienced professional. In addition to that, he did his best to catch a fish, but the boat was empty. At times, it happens to our life. We do our best to make something, to achieve something, but it doesn't happen. Then we are disappointed and frustrated. We feel like failure. A couple of years ago, I quit playing golf. Golf had been my favorite hobby for the last several years. I bought a nice and expensive golf club and practiced it so hard. Early morning, I would wake up and play golf. Even in the cold winter, I played golf. My personality is very tenacious. If I decide to do something, I usually do my best to the end. In most cases, I get what I want, but it didn't work to golf. I realized that I'm not good at golf at all, so I decided not to play golf anymore. Golf is not my full-time job. It's just a hobby, but it was very difficult to give it up. What if it happens to a professional golfer? There was a professional golfer, PGA member. He did his best to become PGA member since he was young. He spent his time, he did his best. Finally, he was able to become a member of PGA. Yet, strangely enough, one day, he couldn't play golf accurately anymore. He tried to do his best to fix it. He asked for help from his PGA members, his friends, to fix it, but he couldn't fix it. After a long struggle, he had to quit playing golf. At that moment, he might have felt he lost everything. His career became empty. His life became empty at the time. Peter was faced with his empty boat. It is a symbol of failure, kind of his feeling of failure. Ironically speaking, it was a time for Peter to be able to meet Jesus. Jesus appeared to Peter when he was exhausted after a long struggle. Jesus didn't appear to Peter when the boat was full. Jesus did appear when the boat was empty. The boat was empty, and the heart of Peter was empty as well. And Jesus said, "Go into deeper water and throw a net." What if the boat was full? Then Peter might have said, "Jesus, I don't have to. My boat is full. I don't have to go into deeper water. I don't have to launch a boat because my boat is full." Peter might have paid little attention to what Jesus said. Yet, because of his feeling of failure, emptiness, he listened to Jesus. And Peter did exactly what Jesus said. Eventually, he caught lots of fish. His boat was full. His heart was full of joy as well. At times, crisis takes place in life. Crisis is always difficult and painful. Yet on the other hand, crisis is a chance to see things differently. Crisis is an opportunity to be empty. It is a time to take down everything we hold and reconsider life we have taken for granted and check if our life goes into the right direction. Spiritually speaking, it is an opportunity to meet Jesus and reorganize life again. Louis Smedes wrote a book, "How Can It Be All Right When Everything Is All Wrong?" In the book, he honestly shares his insights of his life crisis. He says, "The other night, trying to sleep, I amused myself by trying to recall the most happy moments of my life. I let my mind skip and dance where it was led. But somehow my mind was also seduced to a scene some years ago that as I recall it, must have been the most painful of my life. Our firstborn child was torn from our hands by what felt to me like a capricious deity I did not want to call God. I felt ripped off by a cosmic con artist. And for a little while, I thought I might easily ever smile again. But then, I do not know how, in some miraculous shift in my perspective, a strange and inexpressible scene came to me. Then our lives were still incalculable. An irrepressible impulse of blessing came from my heart to God for his sweet gift. And that was joy in spite of pain. Looking back, it seems to me now that I have never again known so sharp, so severe, so saving, a sense of gratitude and a so deep a joy or so honest. After the loss of his child, he couldn't stand it for a while. It must have been the greatest crisis he had gone through. He felt God was a cheater or a con artist. He was very angry to God. But at a certain point, he realized that still there is something he cannot understand. And he began to feel the presence of God in the midst of the loss and the suffering. He noticed that there are still reasons to live and to be grateful in the world. Like Peter, we do our best to control life, family, finance, relationship, job, or health by all means. Unfortunately, we don't take complete control of our life because life is basically unpredictable and uncontrollable. When Peter gave up his control over the situation, when he surrendered his will to Jesus, Jesus was able to control the situation for Peter. When we fail to take control of something, it is time to give the control to Jesus. It is time for us to surrender ourselves to Jesus. We don't have control over life or the future, but we do have faith. Faith is the belief that God takes care of us in His will and His plan, although life doesn't go the way we plan, the way we schedule, the way we dream about. Faith is the belief that God is full of grace, wisdom, and blessing for us in His way, no matter what happens to us in our life. Do you feel empty in life? Then you are able to fill it up with new blessings and the grace of God. Do you feel empty? Please be sensitive, because Jesus will come to you to fill your boat. Jesus says, go into deep water and throw a net. Amen.